largest trading partner. However, within this bucket, processed foods do not form a large proportion. Hence, we can see, the potential for adding to that, adding between the trade of these value-added products between UAE and India. So it is opportune that we are discussing the regulatory and procedural requirements for exporters and importers from both countries. We're privileged to have an extremely distinguished panel of speakers from key stakeholder agencies in both the UAE and India to share their views on this topic. I'd now like to invite Ms. Neelu Rohra, the Consulate General of India in Dubai, to give her welcome remarks to kickstart this all-important session. Thank you so much, Ram.
Thank you, Azad. It is a pleasure today to be here and to welcome our distinguished panelists. Since this is the UAE-India Food Security Summit, it is very important for both sides, in particular, since we have today the J&K delegation here with us, to understand the regulatory requirements on both sides. So in this session, the idea was to introduce the regulations on both sides so that the food trade that we are looking to enhance does not stumble because of these requirements. So the J&K government has announced that they will be putting up the Spice Park, which will be doing the testing and the certifications and etc. So this is the opportune occasion for both sides to understand and to come together and see how they can have the seamless trade flow in food between the two countries. So I'm very happy today, and salam alaikum, marhaba, sabah khair. I'm looking forward to working as the bridge between India and UAE and to facilitate the food trade and cooperation and investments in the allied sectors. Thank you very much, Azad. And I am looking forward to everyone and hear you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. We now commence, the individual presentations and, pointers from our speakers. First, I'd like to invite Dr. Essam Al-Hashmi from the Dubai Food Safety Authority of the Dubai municipality to make his remarks and share his presentation for all the attendees here. Dr. Al-Hashmi, floor is yours.
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to present in this important event, which is about the food security. I'm going to present about the procedure of food importation to Dubai, and I will show you some statistics of India, the amount of the food that's coming from India to Dubai. Will you allow me to share my presentation, please? Yes. To just next slide, please. Yes. So Dubai municipality. Yeah. Next slide. Yes. So the Dubai municipality and food safety department, it is under the health, safety and environment sector. And this department, we have four main sections. Food study section, and they are in charge of food regulation, and they are in charge of food sampling. Food inspection section, they are in charge of the all premises of food in Dubai. Permit and applied nutrition section, they are in charge on the new premises, food premises, I mean, and the awareness of the nutritional applied. And finally, food trade control section, that's the main section that we are going to talk about, which is in charge of the Dubai borders. Next slide, please. So, Dubai food trade control section, we have under this section four main units: seaports, airports, land ports, and consignment. Follow-up and consignment. So the seaports, we have, as you see in the presentation, 5 gates, mainly 3 in Jebel Ali and 2 local ports. Airports, we have 5 gates in the airports, 3 in Dubai International Airport and 2 in Al Maktoum airport. And we have land port, which is with Hatta border and Aladdin Yard. Mainly Hatta we are with Oman, so most of the food is coming through land port, it's coming through Oman. And Aladdin Yard, which is the food that import from different parts of the Emirates and come to Dubai and we inspect in that yard. And finally, we call it the follow-up unit, that whenever we are not able to inspect the food consignment in the port of entry, we inspect in the warehouse. We have a full team that they are going to the warehouse of the companies. Next slide, please. So this is a map of our locations in Dubai. As you see, we are distributed in all parts of Dubai and Hatta also. Next slide, please. What is our main responsibility in the border? Number one, inspection and releasing all imported food shipments to the local market. Number two, inspecting and releasing all imported food for the re-export purpose. Three, supervising food destructions in case that the shipments arrive to Dubai which is not meeting our standard. And finally, verify the compliance of the imported foods to our regulations through either number one, physical inspection, so that the main point that we do it in the port of entry. Number two, we inspect the individual food items through label inspection. And finally, in case our system required sample, so based on the system, we take the sample, which is a risk-based system. Next slide, please. This is an average of importation of consignment to Dubai per month. Through land ports, almost 6,000 consignments. Airports, almost 12,000 per month. And seaports, almost 12,600 consignment. And follow up that whatever been not inspected in the three borders, we transfer it to the warehouses of the food traders, which is almost 3,000 consignment that we inspected in the warehouse of the food trader. Next slide. So this is our services, food consignment release permit. So we give the permission to the food consignment to come to the local market. Food export health certificate in case someone would like to export food from Dubai to any part of the world. We issue for him health certificate. Food consignment transfer between Emirates. Also that if your warehouse it is not in Dubai, in different Emirates, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ajman, we have a system transferring the shipment to other Emirates, and inspection will be done in that Emirates. Food destruction service, that in case the shipment is not complying with our standard, it will be destructed. And finally, releasing the food consignment for re-export purposes. Next slide, please. We will show you some statistics about importation of Dubai. Next slide. This is an average number of our total consignment that comes to Dubai. It was in 2017, we can see 351,000 consignment, and 2019 almost 345,000 consignment. Next slide. Number of food items. So individual food items, we according to our system, if we have a water which is 300 ml, it is totally different from a water from the same brand which is 1.5 liter. So each individual item, it will be counted in our system. As you see in this graph, in 2017 we had 2 million different food items being imported, and in 2 million type of food being imported. Some of them are repeated, and in 2019 1.9 million of food that imported to Dubai. Next slide, please. If we speak about the tons, in 2019, 7.7 million tons of food that imported through Dubai borders, comparing to 2017, which is 8 million tons. Next. So now we'll show you some statistics of imported food from India. Usually in Dubai, we import from 173 countries, different countries. And India, it is the top in this ranking. So in the last 3, 4, 5 years, or as far as I remember, India it is the highest country that we import from. Next slide. So if we see total consignment in 2019, 57,900 consignment, comparing to 2016, it is 71,000 consignment. So there's a reduction, some reduction in the number of the consignment. We go to the second slide. Next. Total number of containers also 2016 it was 121,000 consignment containers comparing to 2019 83,000 container. Next slide. Number of the food items imported from India comparing between 2016 and 2019, we can see 283,000 imported food items from India comparing to 2019, which is 215,000 items being imported from India. Next slide. The quantity of food we can see in 2016, 1,700,000. Comparing to 2019, it is 1.1 million, which is a small. We can see the reduction of the quantity of the food also imported from India. Next slide. Here we can see the type of food, or let's say food groups that's imported from India comparing between 2017 and 2019, and the amount of the food comes in this area in these years. So we can see mainly grain cereals comes at the highest quantity from India. Second, vegetables, then fruits, then the confectioneries, sugars and other products, chocolates. Then will come the pulses and seeds, then the herbs and spices. After that, the meat and poultries. So we can see the difference of the imported food items until the water even that imported from India, and also food additives that we can see some 350 consignment that came, tons of food that imported from India. So this is all comparison in tons. We can see the difference between the type of food groups and the quantity. Next slide, please. So this is another graph for the same slide, the previous slide, but for 2019, we can see here clearly that the grain and cereals are the top imported food item from India. Next slide. If we go to the type of the food, we can see in the right side the blue column, which is 2019, mainly onion coming, basmati rice, and come down to the white sugars, rices and flours and chili peppers and coconuts, mangoes, until the all food items that we import. So mainly we can see the onion, it is in the top ranking of the imported item food in the last 3 years, 2018 and 2017, and the rice, basmati rice, is the second in the last 3 years. Next slide. So let's see some problems that happens to the shipments when it arrive to Dubai. So whenever a shipment having a problem, the exporter and the importer will suffer. Sometimes the shipment will be rejected. Sometimes we give conditionally to this shipment. Sometimes this shipment will be distracted. So we'll give you some more details in this contraventions that we find it in our reports. Next slide, please. So we'll start with the total amount of the contraventions from the total importation of food that from India. We can see a good progress in the number of the contraventions, which is the contraventions reducing comparing between 2017 and 2019. And this is a good indication for us that the number of the contraventions of the consignment is reducing. But still, it is considered high, and we are targeting to reduce it as much as we can. It is 68,000 contraventions on the food items being taken in 2017 compared to 2019, which is 42,000 contravention for the food items that imported to Dubai. Next slide. So if we give some details, so we can see 9,000 contraventions was only on the label. So this is a good example to see whenever the label is not meeting our requirement, we give condition release. What does condition release mean? Means that this consignment or this product, if the food trader is targeting this food to be put on the shelf, for example, he will not allow it, because Arabic label is missing sometimes. The label is not very clear. Some information is missing. For example, country of origin, the weight, and the brand. So this is all information which is missing with the label, makes this product having restricts in the release. So even sometimes you are not allowed to release it to other Emirates. It will be released only in the Dubai market. So we are minimizing the problem for the food trader, but at the same time, the food exporter or the food importer, maybe he's targeting to sell his product out of Dubai. By having this label, only it's a label contraventions, he's not allowed to sell it in Abu Dhabi or Sharjah or Ajman or any other. Next slide. Here we can see the certification. Sometimes that shipment comes with the not correct certification. Certification we mean, for example, health certificate or halal certificate. So we can see the graphs here. 51,000 contraventions 2017 compared to 2019, which is 32,000, which is a very good progress, but we want to have better progress. We want this 32,000 to be zero. So in case of this certificate, for example, if the shipment doesn't have halal certificate, the full shipment will be rejected from the port of entry. So he won't be able to just go out of the airport. He will be damaged. He need to re-export it, or he would need to find a recycling method for it. If it was health certificate, he will get a fine, which is almost 3,000 dirham. So assume this 32,000, if we calculate 32,000 multiplied by only 3,000 dirham fine, how much will money people are paying or companies are paying for only a certificate that they can manage it and import it along with the shipment and avoiding this contraventions. Next slide. Here we have a very important slide, which is show us the number of the samples. So usually, based on the risk, we take sample for the food imported food item. We can see the amount of the unfit samples that increasing and decreasing between 2017 and 19. There's an increase, which is not a good news that 579 samples being taken from the different type of food imported from India, and it is unfit. I think this is a serious problem, and I think it is easily can be controlled, especially when the limits of the pesticides, for example, is well known. The limits for the other products, microbial, chemicals, other things that all is known for the customers and the food traders, and they are able to avoid it. So we can give also the full details of this unfit sample to the General Consulate Office in Dubai, and they can share it with the specific companies that they're having this problem to minimize the unfit samples. In case of unfit samples, the full shipment will be rejected or destructed. So the food trader, he's sending his shipment to Dubai, and finally when he gets the result unfit, he should either re-export it back or destruct it. Next slide, please. Here, some of the specific contraventions in more details. So we can see in top, number one, health certificate is not submitted. As I said, in case of not submitting health certificate, the fine is 3,000 dirham. You can multiply the number of the items or the fines by 3,000, how much money companies are paying for only a certificate that can be managed in the country of origin before exporting to Dubai. Number two, which is fish not fit with pork protein. This certificate is specific for the farm fish. So we ask the companies that provide the fish that not fit with pork a certificate from the governmental authority or halal authority, and it will be released. But unfortunately, it's one of the highest document problem, which is I can see it from my point of view, it's very easily to be solved. Number three, the Arabic label is not declared or not available. Currently, because of Corona, we don't ask, but after 3 months, it will be compulsory to have the Arabic label as the usual. But because of Corona, we are just giving exception this period. Number four, health certificate copy is only submitted 5 health certificate does not comply with the regulation, so it's been issued by different authority, not the related authority. Number 6, pesticide residues. Number 7, country of origin is not declared. Organic certificate not submitted. Laboratory result unfit. So this all type of fines that we find it in the port of entry, and this all fines will restrict the movement of the food. So if we see from number 1 until number 10, if we solve this problem, 99% of them are documents only, except the unfit samples, which is number 9. So number 1, a document. Number 2, it's a document. Number 3, it's a label, which is documents. Number 4, it's a document. Number 5, it's a document. Number 6, pesticide-free certificate not submitted. Documents. Country of origin is not declared in Arabic, which is also a label. So all of them, if we are able as a companies solve this problem, I think this all shipments will not get fines and can be released normally in Dubai and without having any problems, and he can re-export it to GCC or any part of the world. So I strongly recommend that this is these points to be considered and solved to avoid getting fines and restriction of the food shipments that come into Dubai. Next slide. So we are looking even with the Indian government, if we are able to integrate with the governmental authority for the food. For example, we are working with New Zealand now and Australia to integrate between our system and their system. In case if there's no integration, we would recommend that the health certificate having at least the QR code or verification number, so we'll be able to know this document is original or not. So to make it easier for the food traders to release their shipments instead of waiting until the documents is provided. Next slide. So we have many initiatives to reduce the rejection of the food shipments. So this we call it control at source. This initiative is mainly to, as I mentioned, releasing the shipment very fast to sensitive exporter to follow the requirement of the UAE to overcome the difficulties facing the exporter from exporting countries, minimizing the rejection of non-conforming food, assuring food safety and quality, and complying food staff for approving standards. So mainly, we would like to aware the exporter about our initiative, and we have a plan to going to the accredited laboratories to accept the laboratory result from the country of origin. So instead of doing the lab test in Dubai, we'll do it in country of origin before exporting, which will minimize the rejection of the food consignment. So this initiative just recently we started, and we were planning to visit India, but because of the COVID, we couldn't visit India, and inshallah we'll have the visit in 2021, and we'll implement this initiative. So instead of making inspection in Dubai, we'll do it in India through lab results, through laboratory accredited laboratories, through approving the governmental authorities in the country of origin to fast release this shipments. Next slide. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Hashmi. That was an extremely informative presentation, and I'm sure the number of exporters and importers on the call today would have benefited from understanding which are the common problems and how they could resolve them. Thank you so much. I'll now move on to my second speaker for today. I'd request Mrs. Majida Mohammed Al-Harmoudi, the head of laboratory section at the Emirates International Accreditation Center, to please make a presentation. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ms. Al-Harmoudi, are you with us? Okay, then I think we just move on to our next speaker, and if Madam joins, we will accommodate her later. Uh, I'd request now Dr. J.S. Reddy, our Additional Director from the Export Inspection Council of the Department of Commerce of India, to please make his presentation. The stage is yours, sir.
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon. Am I audible, Ajad?
Yes, sir, clearly audible.
Yeah. Good morning and good afternoon. First, let me express my sincere thanks to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share the regulatory requirements from EIC's perspective. Are you sharing the slides, Ajad?
So the slides will just be shared. If you'd like to share them as well, we can do that. Also, just another point, sir, just request, our speakers to probably be brief with the presentations,
Yes,
if we can limit it to 5 minutes. Thank you so much, sir.
definitely.
Would you require sharing control?
Probably you can share. Just I will run through.
Sure, 1 second, sir. If we can just get our...
Vikasji, can you give me control, please?
Done from my end.
Thank you, Etisham.
Request Vikasji to give me control for sharing content, please. Can you see the screen?
Not yet, Etisham. Just not yet visible.
Now?
Yes. Yes. Dr. J.S. Reddy, all yours.
Yeah. Thank you. Whenever anybody looks for a good or effective pre-border risk management option in terms of food safety, first thing that comes to mind is the one which is widely accepted, that is the system recognition approach. Next slide, please. So system recognition approach is the one where recognition and acceptance of inspection and certification system of regulatory authority of exporting country by the importing country. This is very widely accepted approach, and this is widely accepted because of its inherent advantages. Next, please. So the advantages like system recognition approach serve as enhanced means for assuring the exported product conforming to the importing country requirements. Next slide, please. So basically, the system recognition approach will eliminate the duplication of the activities like sampling and testing at the importing country's border post. Thereby, it will avoid the logistics as well as time cost. So it will reduce overall transaction cost to the trade. And system recognition approach will also include mechanism for cooperative exchange of the technical expertise as well as information exchange that will help in strengthening the regulatory requirements. Slides, I think, are not moving. Can you, Ajad, help me on sharing? Yeah. Next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
So,
We're just working on it.
yeah, Government of India has recognized the importance of development of export trade through quality control and inspection as early as in 1963, thereby enacted the Export Quality Control and Inspection Act. And EIC is the official certification body having no conflict of interest. And when we look at, next please, when we look at requirements for export, EAC will ensure that product will conform to the national standard of importing country. In case no such standard exists for any particular product, then EAC will ensure that contractual specification agreed between the foreign buyer and exporter is ensured. In the absence of both the above, minimum specification notified by Government of India are applicable. These are the basic principles under which export requirements are defined. Next slide, please. EIC control program basically based on four major pillars. That is regulation, inspection, testing, and certification. Whenever any food safety concern is foreseen, Government of India will notify the product and bring it under regulation. Notified means, next slide please. When notified, what I mean is that the product will not leave the Indian border without inspection and certification. Under the Act, these are the list of the products which are subjected to compulsory free shipment inspection. That is fresh, chilled, frozen meat, milk products, fresh poultry meat, meat products, egg products, rice, honey, fishery products. These are the This is the list of the products which are compulsorily subject to free shipment inspection by EIC. Apart from these products, if any country needs EIC certification, the same can be done under voluntary certification scheme. And some of the countries are insisting for the EIC certification for the products like tea, spices, peanut products, especially when it is exported to EU and Malaysia, rapeseed or mustard meal by China. All these commodities we are certifying under voluntary certification scheme. Next slide, please. There are two types of inspection and certification systems principally adopted by Export Inspection Council. That is food safety management based certification, and the another one is consignment wise inspection. The first one is the system-based approach. There is the approval of the exporting establishment or food processing facility with the special emphasis on the food safety and traceability, following the principles of HACCP, good manufacturing practice, hygiene practices, and good agricultural practices, good veterinary practices. Here, basically, panel of experts will assess the infrastructure of the establishment to see their capability to produce the product which is safe for consumption. Similarly, the technologists are also assessed to assess their skill set so that safe product is coming out of their processing establishment. Next slide, please. Once this establishment is approved, it is subjected to three-tiered surveillance system to see that continuously capability of the system to produce the safe product is coming out of this approved establishment. Next slide, please. The other system I was talking about is consignment-wise inspection, where the end product is tested to meet the importing country's requirement. Every export consignment is subjected for inspection and testing. This is day by day becoming less of prevalent, but the first system is more prevalent. Next slide, please. EIC will ensure this food safety of the food exported from India through its wide network of regional offices, sub-offices, and laboratories, which are strategically located across the coastal line of all, because most of the commodities are food products, bulky commodities, and transportation is to seaports. So that's why you can see the concentration of our offices across the coast of the India. Next slide, please. We are making sure that all the products meeting the importing countries' requirements. This is the laboratory infrastructure. EIC has its own laboratories which are accredited under ISO 17025. Apart from EIC's laboratories, we are also approving private laboratories which are meeting the standards of ISO 17025. So we have facilities for GMO testing for food and agricultural products as well as in our laboratory. Next slide, please. So these are some of the snapshot of the advanced analytical equipments to test to meet the ever increasing and stringent norms of different countries. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Of late, we are also witnessing the issues in food authenticity, that is food fraud, and geographical origin of the food products also. Some of the issues are arising because of various economic consideration. The food is being adulterated, or it is produced somewhere else and exported as origin of some other country for economic consideration and tax related issues or custom related issues. To address this issue, we have set up advanced analytical equipment. That is, next please, nuclear magnetic resonance testing facility at our Mumbai center, which can analyze the adulteration as well as find out the exact geographical origin of the product from which it is originated. Next slide, please. Once this consignment or food product is passing through laboratory tests, then EAC will issue through its field offices an health certificate. And for issuance of health certificate, we are using one online module. So the advantage of this module is that less of human interface, and the other thing is the access of this portal we are giving to the importing country as well, so that importing country border post official can see the authenticity of the document as a health certificate he received it along with the consignment by putting that number in this system. So he can ensure that this is authentic certificate issued after testing and inspection. So next slide, please. So EIC certificate are issued and it accepted in all major trade destinations like Europe, USA, Russian Federation, China, Japan, Korea, and many other countries. And whenever an importing country insists, we are issuing the certificate in multilingual or language of their country as well as English as per the requirement of the importing country. So EIC, next slide please. EIC has signed a number of equivalence agreements or MOUs and MRS with different countries, so that the inspection and certification of EIC as a regulatory body is accepted seamlessly uh, at their border posts. So this is not exhaustive list, but it is an indicative sample list. Custom Union for fish and fishery products, egg products, raw meat, chilled as well as frozen. European Union for marine products, basmati rice, egg products, honey, animal casing, crushed bones, or gelatin. Even we have agreement with Bafra, Bhutan for products like beef, pork, chavan, animal feed, fruits and vegetables, egg and dairy products. Australia for marine products. So we have agreements with South Korea FDA as well as US FDA, and agreements with countries like Malaysia also in place, so that seamlessly products can move with without much loss to the trade, or we can say logistics and transaction cost can be reduced with EIC certification. This is in brief, and thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reddy. That was extremely informative and put forward a few interesting opportunities for collaboration as well when it comes to equivalence agreements and the knowledge sharing that can happen. Thank you so much, sir. I believe Mrs. Majida Al Harmoudi has joined, and I'll request Mrs. Majida Al Harmoudi, the head of laboratory section at the Emirates International Accreditation Center, to please present next. Madam, I'd request if you could keep it brief and under 5 minutes. I hope you have the presentation control as well.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. As per UAE time. I guess I shared the presentation with you.
Sure, ma'am. We just try and share it from our end as well.
Yeah,
Just
first
a
of all,
second.
I would like just to thank you to give me this opportunity to participate in this very important event. And I would like to introduce myself. I am Majida Mohammed Al-Mahmoudi. I have a bachelor in biology of science with a background of microbiologist for a 15 years experience. And then I had take a decision to change my career path to the accreditation field. So I joined EAC in 2017 and acting now as testing laboratories accreditation, head of the testing laboratories accreditation section. Today, I'm going to talk about accreditation rule in the food security. I'm waiting for the presentation.
Mr. Modi, do you have the presentation available? I'll just check it out. Right, my colleague at the Sham has just shared it.
Yeah. As I said, I'm going to talk about accreditation rule in food security. Next, please. Emirates International Accreditation Center mission is to strengthen UAE's position as a hub for Islamic and global economy and to empower the decision makers to ensure the continuous development of infrastructure for well-being of the society. All of this is coming by getting the international recognized accreditation services without borders. So by gaining this international recognition, we are facilitating the trade. Next, please, can you just enter to complete the slides? Yeah. So by gaining this international recognition, this one, it will lead to for the acceptance of accredited lab results worldwide and help to remove all trade barriers. Definitely, it will go into facilitate the trade exchange and the IAC seeks to contribute towards environment, health, and public safety protection. This will support our national economy and raise the competitiveness of the local organization to the international levels. Next. Next, please. Next slide. Now we'll go to just to give you a brief about the accreditation timeline in Dubai and UAE. We'll go back to 1991 when it was starting the laboratories accreditation service, but actually the establishing the real accreditation service it was established in 2005 when the Dubai Accreditation Center, it was established at that time. It was as a section under Dubai Central Laboratory. But in 2008, it was the Foundation of Conformity Assessment Accreditation Department. It was under, it is still under Dubai Municipality, but as impartiality, it will shift it to become as a department under the General Director of Dubai Municipality. But IAC is established in 2015 as an independent official governmental entity. This came after as per the law number 27, which is issued by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister and the ruler of Dubai, to become the separate or independent and official accreditation body entity. So in this, in our center, our main activity is accredited conformity assessment bodies for both governmental and private sectors within in UAE or overseas. We are in IAC, we have a board of directors, which is consists of the chairman, is the general director of the Dubai Municipality. Vice chairman is the general secretary of Abu Dhabi Quality and Conformity Councils. Our CEO, Ms. Amina Ahmed, is the CEO of IAC. And we have members from 8 different federal and governmental authorities. They are helping us and they are cooperative together just to to going on for the to facilitate the accreditation process and operations. Next, please. If we'll go back for the international recognition and membership that EAC got, EAC is internationally recognized in most of accreditation fields. So we have the full member from EAC, from ILAC, which is International Laboratories Accreditation Corporation, since 2005. And the mutual recognition and have the signatory to its mutual recognition arrangement in the fields of testing and calibration laboratories and medical laboratories. We got the full membership with the IF, which is International Accreditation Forums, since 2006. We have to highlight that we have, and every year we are expanding our scope in getting the international recognition in each field, in different fields. I have to highlight that we got in 2017, we got the signatory of multilateral agreement for food safety and management system. And recently we got the hospital accreditation with ISHPA, which is a new achievement that we got recently. Next. Here are, I would like just to share with you the number of accredited labs, which is already internationally recognized. We have over 900 conformity assessment bodies in different fields, in laboratories, inspection bodies, certification bodies, and halal certification bodies and testing. So we have in testing laboratories, we have 228 labs, which is already accredited in different scopes. For the calibration, we have 83, for the medical, 221, and as shown for the other inspection bodies and halal certification bodies, we reached 60 of certification bodies, which is accredited as per halal standard. And this data is until November 2020. Next, please. So we are showing that EAC is now existing and available for more over than 41 countries all over the world. And we have around 75% of our labs accredited inside the UAE and around 25% outside UAE, which is a good, and I'm proud of the achievement that we are available over all the world. Next. Here I just listed down for the accredited testing laboratories scopes only. Here I just highlighted here that we are providing a service in food testing and food contact materials, food supplement testing, in the environmental testing, construction, toys, textile, for several months. And definitely we have other scope which is related to other sections and other departments here in EAC. And anyone is interested to know more about our scopes, they can visit our website on www.eac.ae. They have you can visit it and you will find the entire information there. Next, please. Okay. Here now, after this brief about EAC and our activity in EAC, I'm going to talk about EAC rule for food safety. So the global food traceability system are intended to assist companies and consumers to receive the healthy and authentic food by implementing standards and conformity assessment schemes to be easy to track and to trace the path of the products through the whole food chain. This is coming to improve our food safety and security and to avoid and mitigate the risk on public health and economy. So EAC is adopting an integrated accreditation system model that contribute in enhancing food quality and safety, whether they are imported or produced in Dubai or any other emirate in UAE through special planning process built for such a purpose. This integrative approach is based on synergetic effect between the stakeholders and relevant authorities that serves food safety processes. And this is established to sustain food trade and the production system effectively in order to eliminate different challenges and obstacles. So we can say that IAC model for food safety is to improve the synergy between the different beneficiaries in food chain of traceability. This includes, next please. This includes accredited food testing laboratories as per ISO 17025, the inspection bodies, which is accrediting of the governmental bodies responsible for inspecting the incoming food. This is according to ISO 17020 and including borders and market control, and accrediting certification bodies in 3 different categories, which is food safety management system as per ISO 22000 and person certification to just accredit the personnel that are involving in this service as per 17024 and food product certification. And we have and also halal certification for the purpose of Muslim and halal food. Next, please. So by this model and this integrated model, we can say that it is a unique in this region where a single accreditation body is capable to integrate all of these accreditation or these fields together in one geographical, and we can serve and we can unify all of these in one place that we can serve the external and internal food trade. Next. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Majida, for that detailed presentation. Of course, accreditation of laboratories and inspection agencies is extremely important in facilitating trade and ensuring public safety, public health. Thank you so much. I would now call upon Mr. Devendra Prasad, the Deputy General Manager of APIDA, to please make his presentation. And the stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Respected Consul General of India in Dubai, officials from Invest India, officials from UAE, my co-panelists, participants from both the sides. Good afternoon once again. In fact, since I'm making this, from the home, I'm quarantined, so I will not be able to share my presentation, but I'll speak what all we do. Will that be all right?
Yes, sir, definitely. We'll just, request everyone to maintain that limit of 4 to 5 minutes at max. Thank you so much.
Well, the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, APIDA, is a statutory organization under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for development, promotion, and to monitor exports of its scheduled products from India. APIDA looks after more than 700 product lines, which includes fresh fruits, vegetables, processed food, cereals and rice, dairy and dairy products, meat and meat products, honey, groundnuts and their products, wine, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, floriculture, guar gum, certified organic products, and the GIA products, medicinal and herbal products, etc. The product lines are more than thousands, 700 plus. In a nutshell, other than plantation crop and seafood, all other fresh and processed food products are looked after by APIDA, which contributes to more than 55% of total agri exports from India to all over the world. France, India is second largest producer of rice in the world, as mentioned by one of the co-panelists earlier, largest producer of millets, second largest producer of wheat, 7th largest producer of maize, 5th largest producer of soybean, 8th largest producer of certified organic products, and the 2nd largest producer of fruits and vegetables. Due to varied agroclimatic zones, India produces variety of fruits and vegetables, fruits such as mangoes, pomegranates, grapes, bananas, pineapple, papaya, and vegetables such as onion, gherkin, baby corn, green chilies, okra, beans, garlic, and ginger, and so on and so forth. India is exporting its agro and food products to more than 150 destinations covering North America, EU, CIS, Middle East, Southeast Asia, North America, and Australia. India has well-defined procedure for exports based on food safety and traceability compliance requirements of importing countries. India has developed a robust sampling, analysis, and certification systems based on international standards, supplemented with backward and forward linkages, adopted market and distribution reforms to deliver best produce to consumer in most hygienic way. India has made significant infrastructure development for processing, grading, packing, and logistics management for streamlining and strengthening supply chain for fresh and processed food products in the past few years. Presently, the active exporters are more than 1,500 out of 35,000 exporters, 195 fresh fruit and vegetable pack houses, 135 approved meat processing units, 150 peanut processing units, 250 rice processing units, 5 irradiation facilities, 4 vapor treatment plants, 215 food testing laboratories accredited to international standards 17025. We have 35 inspection and certification bodies complying with ISO 17020 requirements. There are 30 accredited certification bodies by APIDA, which are complying to 7065 standards. In fact, APIDA is the Secretariat for National Program for Organic Production, NPOP. And we administer the trace nut system, and we are the custodian of, certified organic products exports from the country. Traceability systems such as TraceNet for organic products, Hortinet for all the fresh fruits and vegetables, Peanut.net for peanut and peanut products, MeatNet for meat and meat products, a world-renowned online monitoring system implemented by APIDA. All the fresh fruits and vegetable pack houses are compliant with either BRC, British Retail Consortium standard, which is a global standard recognized by GFSI, and they are also complying with ISO 22000 requirements. Food processing units are complying with either HACCP or ISO 22000 with complete vendor development programs, backward and forward linkages, as well as the processing and exporting units are complying with the halal and consumer-specific certification requirement of the importing country. Friends, UAE is a potential market and gateway to Middle East countries from India. There are robust and well-established systems such as pre-shipment inspection, testing, and certification systems in India. India has been able to equip itself to maintain regular supplies of agricultural and food products to all destinations even during the COVID-19 pandemic, with a specific reference to UAE. In fact, we had organized buyer-seller meets with the help of our embassy and consulates in UAE, several times during the pandemic also. Both the sea and air transportation in the form of regular and chartered carriers have been deployed to cater to the needs of the importing countries. Testing, certification, survey, shipping agencies, customs clearance, and the government machinery is fully functional in India. India would be in a position to move sea and air shipment to UAE and all other Middle Eastern destinations without any difficulty on a regular basis, complying with the regulatory requirements of the importing country with a specific reference to UAE. Friends, that is all I have to share with you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prasad. Thank you so much, Mr. Prasad. Extremely informative, and we got a good idea about where India stands in terms of its export capabilities, the wide variety of products that India has the ability to export, and how we comply with global requirements as well. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
I would now call upon our final speaker for this session, Shri Sunil Bakshi, the Head of Regulations at FSSAI of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Stage is all yours, sir. Would just request that you keep the presentation under 5 minutes, and if you'd require us to share the presentation, please do let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Sidhu. And yes, I'll try to keep my presentation completed within 5 minutes. And hello, everyone. I'll just share my presentation. So, okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir, clearly.
Okay. So basically, I would be giving some information about the regulatory system that we have in the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is the statutory body formed by an act of the Parliament to regulate food and food products within India. So the act which I am referring to is the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, which was enacted by the Parliament of India in 2006, as the title itself says, with the objective of consolidating multiple food laws and establish a single point reference system within the country. Previous to this, we had a lot of, number of regulations which were administered by different departments. And this act also provides for establishment of a Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is already in position now. It was formed in 2008, and since then it has been working. So it's almost a gap of 12 years that we have been working in this sphere, regulatory sphere now. This act basically provides that there should be regulation regulating manufacture, storage, distribution, sale, and import of food products, and so as to ensure availability of safe and wholesome food for human consumption. What is actually missing from here is, as you see, we are not covering the exports of food products from India. So that is already, as has been explained by the speaker from Exports Inspection Council earlier. So exports doesn't fall in our mandate. The scope of this Food Safety and Standards Act basically covers all activities throughout the food chain. That is from beyond primary production and going through distribution to retail and catering. So here we cover almost everything, as I said, that manufacture, storage, then distribution and import as well. And this act also gives powers to the Government of India to make regulations on matters of food safety. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is in turn responsible for preparing specific regulations under the Act. What are the salient features of this Food Safety and Standards Act? As I said, that previously we had very outdated legislations in place which were administered by different departments. So this unified regulatory system that was created as a result of this Food Safety and Standards Act. The salient features was that through this act, we are involving lots of stakeholders in the decision making of food authority as regards the food safety and quality. There are science-based standards specified under this act, which are created through a network of scientific panels and a scientific committee under the Food Safety Authority. This act also provides for recognition of accredited food testing laboratories and audit agencies for the purpose of carrying out enforcement of all the provisions of the Act and the regulations. So unless the laboratory is accredited under that accreditation system, in India we have the NABL, National Accreditation Board for Food Testing Laboratories. So those laboratories without the accreditation cannot take part in the enforcement activities of acts and regulation. Then there is also improved justice delivery. There is also a process for adjudication of cases. in respect of non-compliances that are found through the enforcement mechanism. The Act also provides for graded penalties. Then through this Act, there is also provisions of consumer empowerment, their information dissemination to consumers and making them partners to this whole approach of food safety. It also provides for public-private partnership in enforcement activities like we have for laboratory setup. We have root in many private agencies which run many of our enforcement laboratories in India. And then we are also engaging private audit agencies which carry out part of the enforcement activities for us. This Act basically encourages self-compliance by food businesses, and there is accountability at all levels, which is also specified under various provisions of this Act. So Section 92 of this Act provides for Food Authority to make regulations, as I have already said earlier, which are consistent with this Act and the rules that are made thereunder. So many regulations have been drafted through extensive consultations and deliberations with various stakeholders, and they are in place now. So this is a list of the regulations that we have, almost 19 regulations which pertain to the quality and safety aspects of food, as well as the procedural matters or the administrative matters that we have to look after in our enforcement activities. So we have licensing registration regulation, then standards for food products, then certain prohibitions and restrictions of sales of certain combinations of food products or certain food products. Then we have other regulations which are on packaging and labeling, limits of contaminants, then how laboratory samples and sampling analysis has to be carried out. Then we have one more important regulation which relates to health supplements, nutraceuticals, foods for special dietary uses, food recall procedures, import regulations, then approval of non-specified food and food ingredients, organic foods, alcoholic beverages, fortification of foods, food safety auditing, recognition and notification of laboratories. Then we have very new regulations on advertisement and claims, a new regulation on packaging, then recovery and distribution of surplus food, and safe food and balanced diets for children and food. In addition to that, we have two more regulations which will be shortly notified. One is on infant food regulation, and the other one pertains to some internal procedures of the Food Authority. So you can see we have a whole lot of regulations which almost covers practically all aspects of food safety ecosystem, which has to be regulated by the authority as provided for in the Act. Now coming straight to the import related part, because that is something which everybody would like to know what our procedures are for import clearance in the Food Safety Authority. So Section 25 of the Act, it says that no person shall import into India any unsafe or misbranded or substandard food or any article of food for which a license is required, import license is required, except in accordance with the conditions of the license. And all such food products which are supposed to be imported in India, they should be meeting with the requirements of all the regulations that I have mentioned earlier. Then this another legislation, Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992, it also says that while prohibiting, restricting, or otherwise regulating import of articles of food, they should follow the standards as laid down by the Food Authority and the provisions of this Act and rules. So we had notified this Food Safety and Standards Import Regulation 2017 on 9th of March 2017. So since then it has been in place. The food safety, food import clearance system, basically we have a food import clearance system which is completely online. No manual interventions are required in this case. So we have this complete system online, which is also integrated with the customs ICE gate system and under the SWIFT, that is single window interface for facilitating trade. So what basically it means that the food business operator has to deal with only one agency, that is at the custom level, which is the ICE gate, and then it automatically gets integrated to our own system, and we then make the food import clearances as per the procedure. We also have a risk management system for food import clearance in place, which is available at the SWIFT, under the SWIFT approach. So we have also complete mapping of ITC-HS codes of the imported food items, along with the risk categorization of each ITC-HS code, which is for the purpose of implementing this RMS that I was talking earlier. So this gives just a schematic, picture of how the clearances are done. So we have the bill of entry filed at the custom, and then through the RMS that I mentioned, risk management system, which is available at the ISK, if the food is allowed to go through the green channel, it straight away gets a clearance and it does not come to us for further work from our side. But if the RMS, depending upon the risk associated with that food product, if it is referred to us, then it comes to our food import clearance system portal, as I said. So for issuance of the NOC, no objection certificate, and the application is filed at the fix. Then the scrutiny is carried out, and if we find that the food doesn't fall within our mandate, it goes out of scope, or we feel that it has to be rejected on the basis of the scrutiny itself, so that is done at that level. But at the same time, we may seek further clarification from the importer. And most of this information that the importer has to provide, he has to provide at the ice gate level itself. We seek minimum information from the food importer. Then, if the process has to go further, the importer has to make the payment, and then we go for visual inspection of the consignment. And based on the results of that visual inspection, if we find that there is any discrepancy, the NCR non-compliance report is generated and the food is rejected. But if we find that there is some discrepancy on the labeling which needs to be rectified, so then we approach the food business operator and ask him to rectify those details or provide further details and rectify the labeling issues, non-compliances. And then they send the food product again for visual inspection by us. If the results are acceptable, then we do the sampling of that food product. The sample goes to the lab. If it is failing, then obviously a non-compliance report is generated. But the food business operator can again appeal for a retesting. Only one retesting is allowed, and the duplicate sample goes to a referral lab. And again, if the sample fails, the consignment gets rejected. And if the sample passes, then we issue a no objection certificate, and release orders are generated by the fix, and then the consignment is automatically cleared. So this was basically how the system works. Just to give you an idea of what this risk-based sampling of imported food products is, we have this RMS system which allows green channel clearance of imported food products on the basis of the compliance history of 4 criteria are there: the type of food imported, country of origin, manufacturer, and the importer. So food items are classified into high risk or low risk based on these inherent risks identified by the food authority from time to time. Under high risk food items, we have this criteria for testing, that is 100% for the first 20 consecutive consignments, and then for 25% for the next 20 consecutive import consignments, subject to full compliance of the previous tests. And if again there is complete compliance after applying this 25% criteria, then we go for 5% sampling of all the consecutive import consignments, subject to full compliance of the previous tests. For low risk foods, again it is 100% for the 21st consecutive import consignments. But then if the compliance is there, full compliance is found, then we straight away go to the 5%, that 25% sampling is not resorted to. These are some of the rectifiable labeling provisions which we allow if we find that there is some non-compliance on the labeling of food products. And if it pertains to these items like name and address of the food importer, then Food Safety Authority's logo and license number, non-veg and vegetarian logo, then category or subcategory of the food, then name and complete address of the manufacturer, lot code, batch number, date of manufacturing, and declaration regarding food etiquette. So if any non-compliance in terms of labeling is found, we allow their rectification at the port of entry itself. Food is not rejected. Then we have this food clearance infrastructure, which is available at 150 entry points all over India. So out of these, FSSAI is present at 22 entry points with offices at 6 locations, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Tuticorin, and Kochi. And the rest of the 128 entry points where we don't have Food Safety Authority officials, they are being managed by or administered by the custom officials, as are notified by us as authorized officers. So they carry out the work of the food authority from these entry points. For testing of the samples, we have a very wide network of laboratories, which is FSI notified NABL accredited laboratories, out of which 188 food laboratories are for primary analysis of food items and articles, and then there are 18 referral for retesting of the food items and articles. So primary testing takes place in these 188 labs, and 18 referral labs, they do the appellate testing of the food articles. So just to sum up what other steps we have taken to streamline food import clearance is that there is a provision for advance filing of documents in IceGate, which are automatically forwarded to the food import clearance system of the Food Authority. So you don't have to approach us for that. So we get the advanced documentation, we examine those, and we can give a clearance straight away. There is also a issuance of provisional NOC for imported short shelf life foods, foods requiring special storage conditions, and pre-packed retail food articles. So we can issue a provisional NOC for that. So labs in the vicinity of ports and points of entries, they have been identified so that minimal time is lost in taking the sample and giving it to the laboratory for quick testing. Time taken for testing of the laboratories is also being monitored very continuously, and right now it takes anything between say 3 to 5 days to get the test results from that. The last slide, ITC-HS codes for the food items along with the risk categorization has been mapped, and they are to enable auto transmission of only food related BOEs to bills of entry to Food Safety Authority for clearance. So other than that, these articles of food will not be given to us for the clearance. So we also have a provision of recognizing other countries, exporting countries' food laboratories, and we have also done so in Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Nepal, in which case we accept their test certificates so that the food products which are being exported from these countries, they need not be tested again by the Food Authority, and it arrives in our entry points. And we also have an online manual for food imports to ensure consistent approach in food import clearances across the country. Since we have a large number of points of entry, so we need that there should be some guidance which makes the enforcement as far as import food is concerned to be consistent. So that was all from my side, and thank you. Thank you for being patient in hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakshi. A perfect way to round off this session with the regulatory requirements for India having commensurate with the same for the Dubai Emirate. So I'd like to thank all of our panelists and the attendees for attending this extremely fruitful and informative panel discussion. I'll now be closing this event. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to the Consul General as well.
Thank you.
Okay.